Once you have your offers or offers selected, it's time to put together a web page to display them. Web page design. Designing web pages for affiliate marketing generally has a lot to do with SEO. Why is that? Because when marketers choose affiliate marketing as their entry point, it's often because it has a lot to do with the ease and low cost of beginning to affiliate market. Since cost is a factor, there probably isn't a whole lot of change lying around to spend on paid marketing. I would recommend that you read our free traffic module and design your page using our on-page SEO recommendations. This is going to help you not to do anything that might hurt your rankings in the top search engines. A little side note on that, when I've lost rankings, it's usually been my doing. I'm usually trying to improve something small on the site and I'm already ranked #1, and then I'll kick myself out because I do something that hurts my rank. With that said, let's talk about a few things that you want your affiliate page to be able to do for you. Solving a problem is one of the easiest ways to see if an affiliate page is dialed in or not. Are you solving a problem or presenting a solution for some type of situation that your visitors are experiencing? If you're not, then you need to be able to explain what it is exactly that your website is doing. Too often I see pages put up that do something we call stating the obvious. What I mean by that is the page or affiliate page that people put up does absolutely nothing. Any person visiting this type of page will be better off visiting the manufacturer's page. Why? Because they really aren't doing anything more than just grabbing the bullet points and embedding a video from the manufacturer. We've seen this happen all too often with the NicheBuilder affiliates. You have to add value. What is it that your web page does or tells that the user cannot find anywhere else? Have you created a video that shows step-by-step how to use an application? Are you offering any type of bonus for purchasing through your link? Do you offer live chat to answer questions about the product you're recommending? Tip: live chat is a great strategy. It helps you learn more about the product and tells you exactly which FAQs to add to your website. One of the tricks that I've done is I'll do live chats with a customer and then I'll take screenshots of that live chat and then post that to the website. Above the fold is where you're going to want your first call to action. So what does above the fold mean? Well, that's the first visible screen when a new visitor lands on your page. Okay. Statistics have shown, running ClickTail and some different other KISS metrics and whatnot, that less than 10% of your visitors are ever going to scroll your page. Okay, let me repeat that. Less than 10% of your visitors to your website are ever going to scroll your page. So by having the link above the fold, you're at least giving the other 90% a chance to see the offer. SEO or search engine optimization, well, what is that? Okay, well, that's referred generally to how well your websites are positioned within the major search engines such as Google, Yahoo, and Bing. In 2013, things have changed quite a bit. During 2012, there were two major updates that Google did that changed the face of SEO forever. The two updates that I'm referring to are the Panda and Penguin updates. The goal of these updates was to eliminate any sites that were considered to have low quality score. The new ranking parameters within Google became known as your website's Panda score. Now, I'm going to preface this with telling you that I do not work for Google. I do not have any insider at Google, at least none that we'd admit to. But here's a simple equation that you can use to help determine your Panda score at Google. Your Panda score is going to be based on your static elements times your quality checks times your user experience. Okay, and we'll get into all three of those. Google's mantra from the very beginning has been to provide the very best user experience for its users. Up until 2012, many sites were able to rank based on the results by volume approach. Okay, and what that means is just they could throw up so many backlinks and so many pages of content that Google's algorithms really didn't have a choice but to rank them. So let's take a look at exactly what people were doing so you don't make the same mistakes. In the past, people were able to build several small HTML websites that were targeted towards low competition with medium search volume. And that plan still works, except it's changed quite a bit. For years and years, people were able to game the Google by creating massive amounts of pages, massive amounts of backlinks, and having each page relevant to a specific keyword. So you might get to a site and find that all the pages had the same root keyword buried inside of them. For instance, let's say you got to a site that was about ceiling fans, and every page on that site looked something like this: ceiling fans, ceiling fan uses, By ceiling fan, by ceiling fans, outdoor ceiling fans, indoor ceiling fans, ceiling fan uses. Now, each page of that site might have content on it, but the big question in Google's mind is, how much value does this site provide the user? Is the content that's included there aimed around actually helping the users, or are they focused around getting rankings in the search engine? A better way to approach the subject of ceiling fans would be to word your pages in a title format. And that title format should actually ask a question or make a statement to the user. Here's some examples. 10 reasons why you need a ceiling fan. Ceiling fans for your home or office. How to use ceiling fans to lower your electricity bill. Where to find the best prices on ceiling fans. The best ceiling fans for outdoor use. The best ceiling fans for indoor use. You can see how the second group of titles has a much greater impact and grasp of the user's attention than the first set of titles. In addition to more thorough page titles, you need to consider more than just keyword density and backlinks. Quality score. When you're launching your websites, you might not even know that you've been penalized. People that have a site that's been ranked can easily tell that they've been penalized. Why? Because they lost their ranking. But when you have a brand new site, you might be penalized from day one and not even know it. Here's some of the items that are much more important now. Time on site. How long in terms of seconds and minutes are people staying on your web page? Bounce rate. Where do people go after they reach your site? Do they stay on the home page? Do they go to another page within your site? Or do they hit the back button and head back to Google? One of the things you can do to decrease your bounce rate is to break your articles up into sections and force the user to right arrow through the content. Solutions. We mentioned this earlier, but you want to create content that provides valuable information such as a solution to a problem. And a how-to tutorial or step-by-step guide is a good way to go as well. Number 4, product review grids and other graphical representations give visitors a quick visual so they can make up their mind quickly and move on to purchasing the product you're presenting. Now, I can also tell you that these review grids also create really good backlink materials, so people will do natural backlinks when they want to share that information. You're also going to want to create content that people are interested in naturally sharing. Like I was just mentioning before, the Penguin and Panda updates of 2012 all but wiped out the content farms that were building links through automated or cheap labor methods. That also means that they penalized anybody who was getting links from them. Google now not only looks at the amount of backlinks that you have, but much more specifically at the relevance of the page that's linking to your site. So you might have a page ranked 7 link from a baby bottle site, but your product's about frozen steaks in your Steak of the Month Club. Well, this link will not only not help you with your rankings, it's most likely going to hurt you, if not derank you altogether. Remember, Panda score equals static elements times quality checks times user experience. In the equation above, I mentioned the term static elements, so let's talk about what exactly that is. Static elements are the specific items that Google's looking for on your website. Here are a few static elements you need to absolutely make sure you have. Privacy policy, a contact us page, an about us page, and a terms of service page. Now, if you're also doing affiliate marketing, you're also going to want to have an affiliate disclaimer page. Each of these are individual pages that Google needs to find on your website. You need to have a privacy policy page, contact us page, an about us page, and a terms of service page. When you construct your sites using the NicheBuilder HTML site wizard, all of these pages will be included for you right out of the gate. However, if your page is of significant monetary value, meaning if I were to lose the rankings, it would significantly affect my monthly income, I would highly suggest that you have each of the 4 pages above rewritten specifically for your site. That means each page should be able to pass Copyscape without a problem. Google doesn't like duplicate content, right? When constructing WordPress sites, you want to pay close attention to make sure you add these pages. You might be familiar with the Googlebot. That's just a funny name for a utility that moves from site to site across the entire internet, indexing and logging information about the sites. As Google scans your site, it's got a checklist of items that it fills in by scanning your content as well as your code. Think of Google as filling out a checklist. Are you giving Google enough information on your website to fill out their profile about your website? One of the mistakes that people often make is not including enough information on your specific pages. If you've ever done a Google local listing, they ask you a ton of questions about your business. So let's say that you have a Contact Us page that is simply a text box and email submit button. Now imagine that you're a Googlebot and you're trying to fill in 85 fields in order to give your site a score. Well, what score would you give a site that just has an email and submit? So when you're filling out your Contact Us page, you want to make sure you have the following. A physical address. Even if it's a P.O. box, it's still better than not having any address at all. A phone number. Most likely no one's ever going to call it, but just to be safe, get a virtual phone number. I picked up a voicemail only number from Magic Jack for $69 for 5 years. Authorship. Google's placing emphasis on pages that have specific authorship listed. This means you're identifying the person as writing the content. There are WordPress plugins that help with this. Now, with specific regard to e-commerce sites, in addition to the items listed above, you want to make sure that you have a shipping, warranty, return policy, and refund terms page listed. If you're an information selling business or an affiliate site, there are specific FTC rules that you need to follow. You're required by law, even if you're not a US-based company, to have specific disclosures on your site that let people know you're receiving compensation for the product that you're recommending. Now, I said required by law because Google is a US-based company and they have to follow FTC rules. So technically, if you're a foreign-owned business, you don't need to have these disclosures, only if you want to rank in Google. I believe you need to have them if you're selling to the USA as well. So it's a good idea just to have them. Code quality. The next thing that you need to pay attention is called code quality. When using NicheBuilder sites, you can be assured that the initial code is intact and has no errors. However, the links and the text and the changes that you make to that text can easily be done incorrectly and cause you to have broken code in the eyes of Google. If you should choose not to use NicheBuilder in the future, you're going to want to make sure that whatever you use is using the most up-to-date programming practices, because the do-it-yourself, website in a box, get me online for free packages are often old technology repackaged for the novice user that doesn't know any better. Part of what you're paying for with your NicheBuilder subscription is for us to make sure that your websites are using the most current and accepted coding practices. A few other items that Google checks your code for are hidden text, overlapping text, and exploding images. Bad code didn't used to be such a big deal. In late 2012, Google started checking more and more for bad code. User experience. Google rewards sites that provide solutions for what the customer is looking for. If people enjoy your site, then Google wants to give you more and more traffic. And they do that by giving you more rankings for a specific term. Are your users finding the content that they want? How accurate is your navigation? How friendly is your page layout? Are your users consuming your content? That means, are your users reading your articles and watching your videos? Next is the depth they are going within your site. How many pages does each viewer see? How long do your users stay on your website? Are they just hitting it for a minute and bailing, or do they stick around and read lots of your content? In theory, this seems like such a simple thing, but you have to look at the flip side of the equation as well. If your goal is to push people through to, let's say, an affiliate offer, then you really need to measure the stickiness of your website for rankings against the handoff to the product or service you're representing. That means, how hard are you working to keep them on your site versus how hard are you working to push them on to the affiliate offer? One strategy that I've used from time to time is to convince people to buy your product or service with each additional piece of content that they consume. The way that I do this is I'll handle an additional objection with each piece of content on the site. Bounce rate is determined by how many people click the back button before clicking any other page links on your site. A good goal to shoot for is under 55%. That means fewer than 55% click directly back to Google. Instead, they click on another link on your page to go deeper into your site. Never give users back to Google. You want to try and keep them in there however you can. Okay, it's party time. The party is already happening. I don't know if you've ever heard about this strategy before, but you want to put some comments on your site. There's a couple of chains of thought on this. If you use Facebook comments, well, it carries more credibility in the eyes of the visitor. However, a general philosophy in gaining rankings is to own as much of the internet as humanly possible. Therefore, you want to use a comment plugin or a third-party comment widget that would allow you to own the comment content on your page. Depending how you're monetizing your pages, you'll want to make the best decision for your site. Also, with regard to the date of your content, you want to update the date to be current. Depending on how you're monetizing your pages, you're going to want to make the best decision for your site. Sites with a lot of comments increase user engagement. Have a Facebook like button. Get people to like it. You can hire this out on Fiverr for $5, but I wouldn't exactly recommend it because you also have something called user engagement. So you want to try and have real Facebook likes wherever possible. You want to also have lots of social proof. Okay? What this does is it creates trust in the mind of the visitors. Show people that people before them have liked and interacted with you and your content. Think of it like making a first impression on a date. Only making a first impression on the internet is much more difficult. A ninja trick would be to put a picture on a site that cuts off at the bottom of the page. The curiosity will help people to scroll to see the rest of the picture. Some other things that you'll want to include are pagination and a table of contents. What does this do for you? Well, it gives you more pages on your sites, more page views, which is better for bounce rate and also gets your ads seen. It's easier to read. If you have a large article, you can split it up so people can get to the content that they want to faster. Your site will be perceived higher, mostly because all the biggest sites are doing that. Your users will be more engaged on your site. Your time on site numbers will change, and they will change for the better, and more interactivity and more clicking from your users. Another way that you can increase activity is to do what's called interlinking. One of the best examples on the internet of this is Wikipedia. They interconnect all of their articles. In the picture you see there, the blue links are to other articles within the Wikipedia domain. The same goes for your pages. You'll want to interconnect your articles by highlighting keywords from other articles. This increases engagement and lowers bounce rate. Again, this applies primarily to information-based websites. When running an e-commerce or affiliate site, your message should be focused. Crossing up the strategies can often have diminishing results. However, an informed visitor that does all their research in a controlled environment, namely your website, can easily be converted to a buyer and raving fan. One of the strategies that we've used over the years in order to get top rankings is to look at the top 10 sites and simply see what they're doing. Are they article sites? Are they large corporate sites with hundreds of thousands of pages? What type of additional content are they offering the user that they may not be able to find anywhere else? Then once you have that information, simply replicate all of the items that you can on your website. The thought behind this is, if Google can find all the information they're currently finding on all the other websites on your website, then they might as well give you the ranking and not them. You do need to make sure that all of the supplicate or additional content that you're including is related to your primary topic. An example of this would be if you're offering to buy houses quick in St. Louis, you wouldn't want your supplementary content to be about owning your own vending machine business. Dynamic navigation that lists other content available to the user will increase your user engagement by around 5 to 25%, depending on how you do it. YouTube is an excellent example of dynamic navigation. Each time you go to YouTube, it doesn't really matter what you're searching for. They're most likely going to show you 2 to 3 other topics that you might be interested in as well. A great example of this is the conspiracy theories. YouTube knows that if you're interested in chemtrails, you probably also question the official 9/11 story. So what did they do? They display videos related to both subjects down the right-hand side of the page, as you see in the picture here. YouTube is probably the very best at dynamic navigation. Think of your website as a YouTube page. Are people on a linear path that brings them in and shoots them out? Or are they spending hours and hours on your site consuming content, buying products, and self-educating? Another good example of dynamic navigation is Amazon.com. Have you ever seen this located beneath a product? When they tell you customers who also bought this item also bought, they are telling you other items that might possibly go with your product. In this picture, they're telling you other items that might possibly go with this man's Sierra insulated jacket. For instance, in this example, you might need the snow pants, the same jacket for your wife, or some black ski gloves to go with it. Most sites begin with the bounce rate at 90% plus. When you implement some of the different strategies that were talked about, your goal is going to be to get that number down below 55%. Here's some rough numbers to follow as you implement this. The party has already started, meaning comments, social buttons, Facebook likes, etc. That's probably going to drop that by 2 to 15%. Splitting articles into multiple pages and adding a table of contents, well, that's a biggie. That's going to be 20 to 30% more user engagement. Interlinking your pages with anchor text within your articles, probably another 5 to 25%. Adding dynamic navigation similar to YouTube and Amazon, well, that could get you another 5 to 25%. So once you have all these items in place to the best of your ability, you're also going to want to look at your server speed and how fast your pages are loading. A good website that we often use to check this is http://loads, LOADS.in. From there, you're going to be able to check and see how your site loads in different countries and within different browsers. Ideally, you want your site load to be under 4 seconds. On that site, there's a link titled Waterfall Chart. Clicking that link is going to tell you how many seconds each element of your page is taking to load. This is going to help you determine which elements of your page are actually slowing the load process. I know a lot of this process can seem focused around Penguin and Panda updates, but really, these 2 updates completely changed everything we know about SEO. If you're following older SEO techniques, you're more than likely going to be banished to page 100 plus on Google within the first couple of weeks of putting your site up. So to wrap up some of the optimization process, here's some basic parameters that you want to shoot for as far as performance goes. User bounce rate should be below 55%. The average user time on site should be above 2 minutes, if at all possible. You want to make sure that users have an average page view, and that's the amount of pages that they view, of at least 2 or more. All of your necessary static elements should be in place. We talked about that earlier. That's the contact us page, disclaimers, privacy policy, about us, etc., etc. You'll want to check and see which ones exactly are necessary for the business model that you're doing. Your website code should be clean and free of broken links. That's broken divs, broken URLs, etc. And your website should load in under 4 seconds. And once you have all these items in place, your next job is to sit back and see what happens. Getting these items handled now before Google's next major update is going to ensure that you either keep climbing or maintain your rankings in the future. So now let's talk about something that was real common prior to Penguin and Panda, which is called keyword stuffing. Keyword stuffing is directly related to something we call over-optimization. What is it? Well, over-optimization is using strategies such as keyword stuffing to try and fool the search engines into giving you higher rankings. Here's some example of keyword stuffing. Your bicycle, my bicycle, someone's bicycle, my son's bicycle. And then having a directory that's, bicycle, tricycle, unicycle, kid's bicycle. Then you might have men's bike, woman's bike, boy's bike, girl's bike. All right. Keyword stuffing can also come in the form of sentences. Now, the examples that I gave you here, the bottom 2 examples would work on a site such as like Amazon.com, but may not work well on your little, 10-page information site. Keyword stuffing can also come in the form of sentences. Here's some examples. See our complete line of electric bikes, folding bikes, kids' bikes, men's bikes, women's bikes, comfort bikes, and much, much more. While these examples might be a little bit extreme, my goal is that you understand you simply shouldn't repeat or overuse words within your content. A good rule of thumb is to use your keywords no more than 1 or 2 times per 500 words of content. An update to some of our previous teachings is, inside of the meta tags, this is what Google displays to the public. I would not suggest that you use your keywords in the order that you want them to appear. For example, if your website was about iPhone games, well, you would write it more like this. Find the best games for your iPhone here. We've collected some of the best apps and entertaining games available for all iOS devices. When Google displays your website in the search results, they will pull those 2 items like this. Find the best games for your iPhone here. We've collected ... Okay? So what's happening there is they're finding the actual keywords that you're trying to rank for, but because you're not putting them in the exact order, they're often rewarding with higher rankings for that. It's kind of more of a natural order to the sequence of the words. All right, let's talk about excessive bolding. This is another one that was kind of a trigger in the Google Panda and Penguin updates. The overuse of the B tags, that's the bracket B close bracket, and then having your keyword in there. That's also been a problem. That means you shouldn't bold every other word on your page or even your main keywords. Bolding should be used for emphasis only, not as a source of ranking power. Then you have what are called H1 and H2 titles and links. Okay, the H in H1, that stands for header. Sometimes you go onto sites and you see nothing but headings and articles and nothing else that the user is supposed to either read or click on. And all it does is show the keyword over and over again. That can be a little tricky to fix if that's your current content, because your content might be specifically written around your keyword. Another approach might be to add additional relevant content that doesn't focus so much on your primary keyword. So if your website is about Sunto survival watches, try adding some content about survival gear or survival training in general, not 25 articles that begin with Sunto watch model XYZ, Sunto watch model ABC, Sunto watch model PBQ. Google is always going to reward the person that goes out of their way to provide the best user experience for their visitors, period. If you think that providing a page of strictly white papers on different products is the best user experience for the target avatar you're presenting to, then do that. But like in the example with the watches, it's a good chance that a person looking for Sunto watches might also be looking for survival information in general. An auxiliary article on your website that's selling watches might be 10 pieces of survival gear you don't know you need. This link will have a lot of pulling power by the way of the curiosity approach, and it might also give you a chance to recommend a few more products. Besides that, it's also going to help people to click around, increasing user engagement and reducing your bounce rate. Pictures. Pictures can make a big difference when designing affiliate pages. A self-portrait is a good stick factor and lets the viewer know that there's a real person behind the curtain. I usually put a picture of myself at the top of the page, but if you wanted to add a picture of your product or something related to your product right on the fold, that's also going to encourage people to scroll and see the rest of that picture. All of these suggestions are going to give you an affiliate page that should stand the test of time and Google. Personally, I have been through both Penguin and Panda updates, and while they did affect the rankings of my sites, what I came back with each time was a better solution that provided more for my visitors. While having an affiliate website is great, it's capturing the visitor's email and pulling them through your sales funnel that will generate the real money. So with that said, let's move on to funnel design.